Hi, I'm Brian Kotke, and today I'm going to answer some questions that average people have about desktop PCs like this one. Like, why do people build them? How do people build them? And why an average person like you should consider building one. Alright, so nobody gets confused, there are actually three types of computers: laptops, towers, and all-in-ones. As you know, laptops are portable and have the ability to just go anywhere with you, but they lack customization and comfort when it comes to like typing and, using that little mouse pad thing. All-in-ones are when the entire computer, all its internals, CPU, GPU, PSU, etc., are all in the screen, and it doesn't have this big tower next to it. It's all in the screen. But those still don't let you pick the specs and things that suit your needs, and they are usually quite expensive. What we're talking about today is a custom-built tower like this one. It lets you choose every single component you will need for your purposes, and it lets you form around the price that you want, rather than buying a pre-built tower that looks like this, but it's gonna give you a lot of things you just don't need. Whereas, with a custom-built tower like this one, as I said, you can customize the internals, and pick what screen you want and not settle, and pick the keyboard and mouse and everything you want. Alright, so why would somebody need such a big, gigantic box of hardware like this? Well, let's start with gamers. Gamers want this. A game that is beautiful and amazing to look at, with a high frame rate, and this is very, very taxing on the system, and why you need a big PC and parts that you choose to handle a game like this. Gamers don't want this. A game that's just disgusting to look at and doesn't have much detail or texture. Has a high frame rate, but it's not very pleasing to look at. Like, you can't see the detail on her face very much. Whereas, on a better PC, you can see details on her face, and details around the world. Other people need a big PC that can handle video editing programs like this. This is called Lightworks. But other video editing programs do apply, like Photoshop. That's not video editing, but that's camera editing. Adobe After Effects, Adobe Premiere, just editing programs in general are really taxing on the PC. You really do need a bigger PC for those tasks. So creators of like movies and stuff, and YouTube creators use that PC's power to create videos like this. And you're welcome for the inception, by the way. I'm editing the video right now. I'm not done. Now that you know what desktop PCs are used for, I'm going to show you how you would go about building one in a simplified way, because if you go into all the little nitpicky things of how to build a PC, it would take a long time. That's a video for another day. But I'm going to show you a simplified version of what you would do and how you would go about it on building a PC. Alright, I've now taken off the side panel of my PC, and I'm going to go through each part of the PC and what you should be thinking about when spending a certain amount of money on that part, if you should spend a lot or cheap out on it and go the cheap way. First, you got your case. You can really cheap out on this. I got it for 40 bucks on Amazon. I kind of cheaped out on it, and it looks great. You can pretty much choose what case looks cool to you. Alright, the next simplest part is the hard drive, and you pick this based on how much storage you think you're going to use, like on videos and games and pictures. How much of that storage are you going to use and put data on? Next is the PSU, power supply unit. This is what converts the energy from the wall into power that the computer can use. Just pick a power supply based on the wattage that you think that your computer is going to use. Next is the motherboard. The motherboard is right here, the actual board that everything's plugged into. You should probably just base your purchase of this on more expandability in general, but you can cheap out on the motherboard if you would like. It doesn't matter that much. The next part is the GPU, or graphics processing unit. This is the unit that renders 3D images or even the UI on the computer right here, you know, the screen. It pretty much just renders everything, all the things you see and all the animations. You should not cheap out on a GPU if you are going to game. This is a very important part of a system if you are going to game. So don't cheap out on your GPU. Next we have the RAM right there. It's that little stick right there, not under that fan, but the little red stick right there. That is the RAM. This is what keeps the memory of like Chrome tabs, like, oh, I have 4 Chrome tabs open, but I don't need to like reopen them again, so it keeps them right there. That's what the RAMs use, random access memory. It's pretty important for video editing, so if you're going to be a video editor, I would make sure you have some good RAM. But if you're just going to go cheap option, you're not going to game or even do video editing, you can cheap out on the RAM, probably go about 8 gigabytes like I did. And last, but certainly not least in the computer is the CPU. It is the chip that is under this fan that is cooling it. It gets extremely hot, that's why it needs a fan. The CPU is like the brain of the entire system. It solves complex math equations for like AI or video editing, like, oh, I have to do this and this and this when I export it. That's what the CPU is thinking. It's a very complex thing that manages complex math equations. That's what the CPU is for. And if you're either way, gaming or video editing, do not cheap out on your CPU. Now that you have a general idea of what you should be thinking about when buying your parts and picking them out for your PC, assembly is pretty dang easy. All you gotta do is just go on YouTube and watch an assembly video, and all you need is really a knife to open up the packages for all the stuff you got, and a screwdriver to put it all in. That's really it. You just plug everything into the motherboard, a little screw there, a little plug in there, and boom, it's built. And you just wire everything to the monitor. It's pretty dang easy to build it after you're done picking everything out. On to my last point. Why would an average person need some gigantic machine like this? Like, if you're just a student that needs it for, you know, typing out an essay, or just watching a little bit of YouTube and just doing normal things that, you know, none of the things I've been mentioning, why don't you just get a laptop like this? It's portable, it does all the same things, you have a keyboard and everything. Why don't you just get a laptop? Well, I'll tell you. Well, first, you can't be a hardware mouse when it comes to just pointing and clicking on the dang screen. Here's the keyboard right here. It's a lot more comfortable to type on because the keys are easier to hit, they're bigger, it's just a lot nicer in general. And you can get a big, nice, glowy one like this if you really want to for cheap. I got the keyboard mouse combo for about 25 bucks. How about that? And if you want a nice big monitor to watch videos on or type on, you can still have that on your custom PC. But then you ask, wait, I can plug a monitor and keyboard like that and a mouse into a laptop. Why can't I just do that every day I get home? Well, I bet you don't. I've done it before, and it's not very pleasant to just like, oh, take your laptop to school and then bring it home and have to plug this in every single day. It's not very fun. Another thing I would suggest is if you're still just a person doing average things on a computer, that like YouTube and essays and schoolwork and just going to Google Classroom and going into UT Quest, it doesn't matter. You can cheap out on a computer like this if you're doing simple tasks like that. Like, you can get a pretty decent desktop like this for about $210. With all the hardware and specs that you would find in like a $400 to $500 laptop, you can really cheap out on it. And lastly, but certainly not least, let's say you have an iPhone like this, and your storage is shot. You can't take one more video, or else your storage is just going to be full, alright? You just can't do any more pictures or videos. And you're not a fan of iCloud, because iCloud is slow, and it's kind of hard to get to it sometimes. But with a computer like this, you can buy a dedicated hard drive or something like that, and put all your photos on that hard drive and still have them in your possession, not putting them in the iCloud where you don't know where the heck those files are going. And you can keep all your photos on a hard drive in the computer without having to contact iCloud or anything slow like that. You can still keep all your photos right there and then save up storage on your phone again. 9 times out of 10, building a PC is not a bad idea at all. You can customize it to your needs, to what you like, to what you want to look like, feel like, what you need it to do for you. You're gonna save money. It's a great experience, and overall, just why not? There's no other feeling than turning your own custom-built PC on for the first time. There's no other feeling in the world, and when you just turn it on and all the fans start spinning, it feels amazing to see what you have built just power up and become alive. And I urge you to get that feeling too someday. Thanks for watching. I'm Brian Kotke, and I'll see you in the next video.